minutes, and then I'll take a 5-minute count in about a minute. So you still have 6 or 7 minutes left. What's Dylan up to anyways? He's just on the way?
Getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows. Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome back to the Xtreme Motorsports Ferrari Road Oval Challenge. This is round number 4 this season, coming to you today from Le Mans. My name is Ron Maunz. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Adam Thompson. Joshua Wilkie is our producer for tonight's broadcast. Well, Adam, your first time covering this series here with FROC, and what a season we have had up to this point. Had a wide variety of tracks: Sebring, Barber, Michigan on the oval last time out, and here at Le Mans, this is going to be a heck of a lot of fun with these cars that have proven to be quite the exciting feat.
Yeah, I am super excited to see how this goes with these Ferraris, these 296s, and let me tell you how new I am to this series and how new I am to this car. I just had to buy it. I know how to run GT3 cars, but I've never actually driven this car, so doing it around Le Mans for me would be probably impossible, because I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not the biggest fan of Le Mans, but it should make for some great racing. Obviously, everybody knows about the massive back straight, and that's going to be cause for a lot of overtaking. I'm super excited to see how these drivers go around this for 2 30-minute races. So heat format here tonight, super excited to see it.
Yeah, really looking forward to the 2 30-minute long races that we have to look forward to here tonight at Le Mans. The last race of this season, the last two, in fact, the 2 races at Michigan were absolutely fantastic, and expecting right about the same here at Le Mans. This track is a staple of sports car racing globally. Of course, it's 24 hours of Le Mans every single year. The Bugatti circuit that isn't on the iRacing service just yet, the host of many events throughout the calendar year, including MotoGP, and the former host of Formula One, the only time Formula One has ever raced at Le Mans, and strangely enough, didn't prove to be a popular circuit many moons ago. Currently in the midst of qualifying, which we did get told by series admin, fantastic man, Mr. Jeff Jacobs, will probably run a little bit long based off the fact that we have nearly 4-minute long lap times here. Just got to run through your classes at the current moment. Michelle Squire top of the board in Pro, Mike Mann top of the AM category, while Tom Jenkins leads in Silver, as we follow Chester Guidry heading his way into the second chicane on the back end of the circuit through the Mulsanne Straight. I want to quickly go through the championship point standings as we head off into this middle part of this season, the 4th race meeting here for this first ever season of Xtreme Motorsports Ferrari Road Oval action. And we will start off as per usual by taking a look at your pro standings as we head off into this race. Been a little topsy-turvy in this category, it must be said. Had a handful of different winners, but even though he's only visited victory lane once, Mike Dam is still your championship points leader. 183 points is his tally at the current moment. Kevin Carlisle with 2 wins. Those came back-to-back in race 2 at Barber and race 1 in Michigan, is slotted in second. Isla Speaker rounds out your top 3 in the class. As you can see, everybody else slotted in tow. Note Michelle Squire, the winner in the second round of the championship at Sebring, and your current pole sitter here tonight. We'll take a look now at the M category, where things have been a bit less topsy-turvy. Chester Guidry has really had a stranglehold on that class up to this point in this season. He hasn't been perfect, as Jeff Jacobs did pip him to the AM class win last time at Michigan in race number 1 of the evening. However, outside of that, he has gone every single race win, holds on to 170 points as a current tally. Aaron Sunday in P2, Jeff Jacobs, Casey Knight, Mike Mann, Neil Weston, and Jimbo Pfeiffer round out your top 7, your entire 7-car field in the AM category. Gotta take a look now at Silver, where Jake Mackey holds on to the championship points lead currently. Bobby Childs slotted in P2 with a pretty darn good result last time out in the second race at Michigan. Sean Mulholland slotted in 3rd, Tom Jenkins in 4th, Robert Brist rounds out your field in the Silver category. The race at Michigan last time out, absolutely fantastic for race number 2, with all 3 of our winners in class. Leo Dragata in the Pro category, Chester Guidry in AM, and Bobby Childs in Silver made up your top 3 in that race, which was absolutely fantastic. Still in the midst of qualifying, want to thank the SCCA Foundation for being one of the sponsors of this series. If you want to learn more, head to the sccafoundation.org. And we also want to thank Ricmotech and Frank Rico for being a proud partner of Xtreme Motorsports as the years have come along. But currently in the midst of qualifying right now, I have to dip out of here soon. Full transparency, folks, we got a whole busy night of action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, so I gotta work some cameras in a production hauler soon. But Adam, I'll let you run us through what we're seeing right now in qualifying. Some pretty close times considering how big of a racetrack this is.
Yeah, it is very close, actually. To only see the pros P1 and P2 overall actually separated by less than a second is very impressive around a track that takes almost 4 minutes to get around. And looking here, he's P4 overall right now, but P1 and AM is Chester Guidry, about really doing a great job right now in the AM class. To his closest competitor, Jeff Jacobs, just talked about him, almost a full second off of him. 5th overall, second in the AMs. And then down there in the silvers, again, very close right now. P6 overall for Sean Milholland, doing a great job.
And interesting to note, some of the other drivers that we usually see in this series not actually racing here, was monitoring the Xtreme Motorsports chat. That makes it seem like I was a spy. But no, I was looking through and seeing some names that were saying, yeah, unfortunately, just life getting in the way, can't really make it. We are getting closer to the holiday season, so that will certainly do it. But actually two names of note, one being the always energetic series admin, Mr. Bobby Childs, that we've got here in FROC, and one name that will stand out to you in particular, Adam, your old pal and one of the founding fathers, so to speak, here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, Mr. Robert Schwenkler. Usually races in this series, wasn't able to make it here tonight. I think he knew that you're going to be in the booth.
I'm telling you, every time I come into the booth, everyone that I want to commentate on leaves. But it's probably a good thing for Rob that he's not here, because we all know how slow, well, I know how slow Rob is on track. I'm way faster than Rob is, so it's a good thing he didn't show up tonight for me to just rib on him for 2 hours. But no, it is unfortunate to not see some of these drivers that have made, some appearances. I mean, again, we're looking here at some of these previous winners here. Leo Dragoda, looking here, I don't see him in here either. I mean, there's a few drivers that have been doing okay, especially as of late, and that they're not here tonight, but that's okay. Like we mentioned before, it still should be a very good race. Close pack racing. Hopefully there is a chance for cars to stay close down that back straight, through the Daytona chicane and through the Michelin chicane, all the way up to Mulsanne. But the problem is really going to be if these cars do start to stretch out just a little bit. I mean, through the Porsche curves, Porsche chicane, you do have places where you can make some big mistakes. Big slowdowns could really hurt you in a car or in a pack that's only 11 deep, 12 deep at the moment. So drivers are going to have to be very careful not to make any mistakes.
Yeah, it's going to be a very brutal race for some. This track is old school in the sense that it is technically a street circuit. A vast majority of the track is public roads there in France. You run from the start of the Porsche S's all the way through to the start of the Mulsanne straightaway as the other part of this racetrack that is purpose-built, designed for auto racing. Many different layouts that they have of this track as well. Of course, with the Circuit de la South here, with the other 24 Hours of Le Mans track configuration, the only other one that they have on iRacing at the moment is one without the Mulsanne chicanes on the back end of the circuit. But you've got the Bugatti circuit where F1 races at, and F1 raced at, and MotoGP races at. You also have a wide selection of kart tracks here. This is a fantastic motorsports facility, and who knows, maybe Formula One would return here at some point farther down the line. I personally prefer to the likes of Paul Ricard and Magny Core that we actually saw recently on the other Weekend Warrior side of things here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. But with about, trying to do the quick math in my head, with about 6.5 minutes left to go here in this qualifying session, drivers about to set their final time. So I think I'm going to pass off the mantle here from my perspective in the broadcast booth and bring in our very own Mr. SMB himself, sorry Adam, Mr. Joshua Wilkie into the booth to get his perspective on all this. Josh, I'll pass the mic off to you. We saw a pretty darn good race last time at Michigan, although we are at a much different track, probably expecting the same great FROC action.
Yeah, we're going from ovals and 4 banked corners to big long straightaways, big drafting opportunities, and some pretty technical chicanes and little bits there, especially the Porsche curves and so on. Some of my favorite areas on any racetrack anywhere. I know there is a bit of a divided community when it comes to this place. Some people really like it, some people really don't. I'm in the first camp. I do really like this track a lot. I've done a few events around here, the 24 hours. Absolutely loved them. I love driving around this track. You get a bit of a rest, kind of middle. It's great for endurance racing, honestly, because you get to kind of take a little bit of a break down this straightaway here. You kind of think about some stuff for a minute, and then you're in a chicane, then another little break for a minute. Not super duper busy, but really fun. The back half of the course, the Porsche curves, just super fun. I don't know, maybe I'm just a weird guy, but I love driving
You
around
are.
this place. I think this track flows really well. I have pretty good pace around here. I haven't always raced really good, but yeah, I definitely have a love for this track for sure. And I'm looking forward to tonight. 12 drivers, 11 drivers. A little bit worried about how spaced out that's going to get, like Adam was mentioning. You know, if we do have an incident or something, I mean, you can see that straightaway right there. Good luck catching someone, you know, once they're out of draft through there without some sort of a big mistake. So we should see, or it should be pretty interesting to see kind of how it all shakes out with the classes here tonight.
Yeah, it should be. And the other thing that, I mean, we're always going to have to mention about long straights like this going into these chicanes as well. I mentioned the slowdowns, and you're gonna have to be very careful because you did mention it, Josh. You're like, oh yeah, you get a bit of a break. But the problem with getting a bit of a break is if you have ever watched real life 24-hour racing around here through WEC, it's a lot of incidents happen in those chicanes, and you wonder if drivers get too complacent because they are driving straight for so long. And then another issue, Josh, before I hand it back into you, is how do these cars bump draft? You know, are we going to see a lot of working together, or we're going to see some bump drafting gone wrong? That may be the only way, especially with only, like, I hate to keep mentioning it, 12 cars that are going to be on track. You're going to have to do something to get back up to the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we've had I don't know, maybe a bit of a question mark about the way these bump draft. We have seen them do it, but you can see the rear end of this car. You've got a lot of aero works and stuff on the back there, and if you end up getting on a pointy bit to a pointy bit, you're going to have some troubles there. And we've seen that happen a little bit as well. And you're right, this place, it is easy to become complacent around here. I did actually do a 24-hour event where there just wasn't enough competitors in our class, and it was a slog out there. There was nobody to pass. You literally forget what part of the track you're on at points, and I'm sure that happens in real life too, where you're coming up on a braking zone, you go, oh crap, I forget what corner I'm coming into here for a minute because it's dark and I can't see, and I've done so many laps, and I'm not really sure we're going to worry about that today. But that's a really good point to raise there, that it is pretty easy to get kind of complacent. Whoa, as we see a big curb strike there from Kroom. There's another one to bring up actually as well. This final chicane, it will destroy your car. It will spin you. It's a place you can make up a little bit of speed. Maybe you can even get a pass going into it, but real dangerous if you get it wrong.
Oh, man, just looking here at Mike Dam, just set the fastest lap. We are in qualifying here, so not all cars are showing up on track, considering this is solo qualifying. But Mike Dam was really right behind or right next to Kroom. Instead of 348.613, Mike Dam, I've followed him in other series that have been broadcasted on slow motion broadcasting before, and this man is quick. But another driver that is extremely quick, Sebring 2 winner Michelle Squarick is back here tonight, but right now she's down, sitting in 4th position right now, actually coming through the final chicane here. See how she does, almost the final chicane. There's a couple of it. Oh no, she's not. She's starting the lap here. Why don't we go on board with her, Josh? Yeah, why don't we go on board with her?
I thought she was in the same spot. Yeah, why don't we take a quick on board here? This spot here, again, really, really important to get this right. I have lost it here at high speed so many times. This corner right here, you need to cut it perfectly so that you can keep the speed out to the wide, not go too wide. They're very, very easy to get an off track on that spot, and you will pay for it all the way down this straightaway. If I had $1 for every time I got an off track there and lost 10 positions, I'd probably have about $10, but still, it's $10. That's a lot of mess ups and a lot of people hauling you down this straightaway. And as we can see here, you can pretty much pull out a little cup of tea here, maybe have a little bite, and then all of a sudden we're back into the right-left piff path here. This is the sharper of the two chicanes. You have to slow down a little bit more for this one. You see him taking a ton of curb there on the inside, or sorry, Michelle Squarick taking a ton of curb on the inside there. We're going to come up on this other chicane. This one here, in most cars you can kind of take it in 3rd gear, so the first one would be in 2nd gear, for instance. This one usually can be taken in 3rd gear if you get it just right. I find this probably one of the best passing opportunities on the track. If you can own the outside here, you're going to get if you can own the inside here, you're going to get, you're pretty much going to come out ahead in this corner. I have found you can push somebody into that, into those bollards there on the right side, and you can kind of take that left lane and make a pass really easy. One of my favorite passing spots. And then of course, coming down to this, pretty much the only hairpin on the entire corner here. The whole track, sorry. Another pretty easy place to get the braking wrong, I have found. I like to try to sort of use this bollard here, straighten it out as much as you can, just like we see Michelle do there into that cone perfectly. Pretty much the same brake trace I take through there, using those same reference points. Look at all that kitty litter on the exit there. That's also going to be a little bit interesting. Now we get into some interesting parts here, Adam. This part, super fast, not really too much corners. I'd call this basically a straightaway, but I have had the biggest crash in iRacing, I believe, of my iRacing career coming up here on this right-hander as I turned into it. And I think maybe I just took a little bit too much curb, and it spit me out the other side of this thing into that wall at about 200 miles an hour. I hit the corner of it right there and then spun like a top into the other side. And I've never had a crash that big before, and it's so easy to happen. If someone is silly enough to try to come up the inside of you in there or make a pass double wide through there, they're most likely going to pay for it, or you're both going to pay for it with time, as we see him go through the other sharp right-hander there, pretty much the second sharpest corner. And then our favorite part of the track here, coming into the Porsche curves. If you can get this right, and trust me, there's ways to get it wrong, but if you can get this right and you can be comfortable through here, to me, this is one of the best sections of corners on any racetrack ever. You can come flying through here with downforce, skim the curbs, just skim this outside wall, stay planted. You can get on the gas right about here and not have to get off the gas again. And it's just so much fun. As you can see, Michelle struggling through there that time, not really able to find that rhythm that you need, and we're going to get kicked out of quali here. But that's a bit of a lap here from Michelle Squirk, taking a, she took a pretty darn good line there through most of the track. A little bit of a incident on Porsche curves, though. Not easy.
No, it's not. I mean, and the reason I figured out why I may not like this track, Josh, while we're waiting here for the grid to pop up, and it is a bit of a shorter pace lap. Thank God we're not going around the whole racetrack, but it's still going to be quite a bit. But those curves or those Porsche chicanes, you want to call them, remind me a lot of Suzuka. You want to know another track I don't like at all? First of all, hot take, Suzuka. Especially in GT3s. Josh, I don't know if you were covering that last year. When I ran it, I am just not a big fan of running Suzuka for some reason. Just something to do with Suzuka. When it comes to flowy S curves, I can't do them.
Yeah, the GT3 car too is just, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. I think the only race I've done that I wanted to tear my hair out and just punch my monitors was probably Suzuka in a GT3 car, and it just wouldn't turn through those corners, and I'm losing my mind. For me, Suzuka's good for the SRFs. It's good for high downforce cars. These GT3 cars, not so much, man. You got to have a certain kind of skill that I just haven't quite acquired, I guess. But we'll get this grid up and going here and get through our drivers here and see if we can't get her started.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mike Dam starting in first position. Sorry, terrible timing. It sounds like my babysitter just got home, so apologies for the dogs in the background. But Mike Dam starting in first position with Chris Thorman starting in second. Ilya Speaker in third with Michelle Squirick starting on the second row, still doing okay in fourth. Chester Guidry in fifth. Joe Nagy starting in sixth position. John Kroom seventh. Jeff Jacobs in eighth. Mike Mann ninth. Sean Mulholland starting in 10th position. And to round out the back row of the grid is going to be Tom Jenkins and Jake Mackey. Or Mackey, sorry. I think that's Mackey. Jake Mackey.
I believe it's Mackey. Yep, that's our 12-car grid here tonight, and this should be an interesting one. We do, of course, have an inverted second heat here after this race, which is going to make things around here pretty interesting, I think, right? If you had the speed around here in the first heat, man, I can just imagine here down into the first two chicanes on the first lap or so are going to be a little bit hairy in that second race, but, very well could be pretty hairy here as well. We have Mike Dam leading them to the line, Thorman just behind him, and Speaker just behind him. So we'll see how it goes here. Should be a pretty good start.
Well, looking here, before we get to the green flag, I'm looking here, Sebring 1-2, Barber 1-2, Michigan 1-2. We haven't had a single repeat winner, and I think tonight, Josh, may be the first time to have a repeat winner with the small car field, including that inverted grid. Someone like Mike Dam has a chance to get to the front of the grid if he obviously finishes first here, gets inverted. I think he does have a chance to get there. Again, we shall see. But we're going to see the pace car pull into the pit lane here. They're going to go through the final set of S's, and then the green flag is going to be coming out eventually. We are still watching them roll. They're all formed up. They're going to have to get formed back up again as they get around here. When does Mike Dam decide to go? He's got a bit of a lead here. I wonder if Chris Thorman is just kind of hanging back at the moment. There goes Chris, getting right up right up beside him. Green flag is out. Mike Dam is away. Everyone's staying side by side here, looking at the cars driving down the straightaway. Looks like Thorman is still on the outside. Looks like Michelle Squirick is going to try to send this 3 wide. She decides better of it. Still 2 wide up ahead of them between Mike Dam and Chris Thorman, though I think Chris has really got to get around Mike, but the other issue is the slipstream we're going to see going down the back straight and into Daytona chicane. But right now, still 2 wide between Elia Specker and Chester Guidry. Chris Thorman has gotten ahead, and he's gotten ahead by quite a bit here, Josh.
Yeah, that was a good spot to jump there and get ahead right at the beginning. Just kind of show your nose immediately and get in there. He's not going to put too much defense up on that one, which is probably smart this early in the race. You don't want to start moving back right away here from Mike Mann, but he's still definitely in it here. This straightaway offering a lot of draft. We're going to see a bunch of passing back and forth here. I think down this straight, got a little bit of side-by-side racing there. I believe that's Jeff Jacobs and maybe Kroom going to just pull ahead of him here. So looks like we're being rather timid about kind of the passing in here at the beginning, which is probably good. We'll save it till the end here. Chris Thorman's going to lead us into the first lap here, into the first chicane.
Yep, yeah, looks like everyone's staying nose to tail. You could see Mike probably got out of the throttle there if we had a throttle trace on him. Everyone's kind of getting out of the throttle. I don't think anybody wants to really lead. Mike goes pretty wide there coming out of the second corner there out of the Daytona chicane. But as of this moment, still nose to tail here. Chris Thorman, followed by Mike Dam, followed by Michelle Squirick, Joe Nagy. Elia Speaker is now in 6th. Chester Guidry up in 5th in AM right now. And then we got Elia Speaker in 6th place for the pros. Into the second chicane, the Michelin chicane now. Everyone still knows the tail, but Josh, we're starting to see it get a little bit spread out already, even through these 2 chicanes that they've had. And if they're already starting to fall back as they go through Mulsanne, that's going to be their last corner to get another slipstream. Because when you start getting into Indianapolis, or like you said, the biggest crash in iRacing you've ever had, and then through D'Arnage, it's kind of game over. I mean, if these drivers have the pace on you, you're never going to get back to them.
Yeah, I think you're right. You can really see who's strong on the brakes and stuff and has that nailed. We see, I'm not exactly sure who that was, having a bit of an issue with the hairpin there. I think that might have been Kroom here, who's going to get backed up a little bit after that. Didn't quite get that right, but yeah, you can see who's fast through the wiggly bits and who isn't quite as fast through the wiggly bits very easily on this course. And like you said, this section here coming into the curves is going to be another pretty good game leveler here. We'll see who can get through them really quickly. And once you kind of get out the other side of that, starting the second lap, if you're 2-3 seconds behind, it's going to be very difficult to catch up. But it looks like we have at least a 3, 4, maybe 5 car pack here that are going to be able to play ball with each other for most of this race here, and then we're kind of starting to spread out a little bit. But everybody's playing ball pretty smooth so far. Nobody's doing anything too frenetic. Nobody's jumping around trying to make a pass like you'd see in officials around here. We'd probably have 3 cars in the ditch already.
Yeah, let's not bring up F3s. But yeah, no, we're doing good so far. Obviously, with these bigger cars, more panels. They do have aero, but it's not as bad. So a lot of these drivers are able to make a bit of a mistake, as we see one there from Jake Mackey, gonna fall back, still in 10th place. What has happened to Sean Mulholland to already be way back there? Sean Mulholland it looks like he may have had a bit of an issue here.
Yeah, we'll see. It looks like maybe right off the bat here too, unfortunately, we may have missed it. Get in a bit. Okay, so that was a bit of an interesting one. Just kind of tripping over each other there a bit. I think he kind of tried to force that move a bit. Car spun in front of him, and then he just did the right thing and walked it down and waited, and now he's going to have to pay for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That looked like that was Sean Mulholland and Mike Mann that came together there. But again, first lap, I say there's a lot of laps left, but when it takes almost 4 minutes to get around this track, we don't have as many as you think left, but it is just a 30-minute race. And that's the other thing we're going to have to think about is time here, Josh, because these laps are so long. We're going to see the white flag come out. If you see 26-ish minutes on the clock up there on your top left, start looking for Barney the Flagman waving that white flag, because it's going to be coming very, very soon, probably around that 26-minute mark. But right now, we're looking at Chris Thorman and Mike Dam side by side, 2 very red Ferraris going for it. Chris Thorman falls back in behind Mike Dam. Is he going to try to go for an immediate move? No, he's going to wait as they go through for the second time the Daytona chicane. Ooh! Chris Thorman thinking about sticking a nose out there, maybe just trying to get into Mike Dam's mirrors, being like, hey, buddy, I'm still here. Michelle Squire still hanging back in third.
Yeah, she had a pretty good view of that one. I think you're right as well there. He's just taking a look, just trying to get in the mirrors, a little bit of intimidation. I'm still here, hoping, maybe you kind of force somebody offline a little bit because they happen to glance at their mirror and miss their braking zone or something like that. And that's kind of what you're going to do around here at this stage in the race. No point in taking a big risk at the moment, but you might as well apply some pressure here, as we can see Thorman and Squirk both moving around to apply a little bit of pressure. Squirk now taking a look at Thorman. That almost looked like it was on for a moment there, but again, I think what you're doing there is just kind of setting yourself up, especially in a corner like that where mistakes are so easily made. She's giving him the guns right now too, so that means get out of my way. I'm faster than you. I can catch this guy. Maybe if you get behind me, we can make this work. We'll see if he takes that advice or not, but at the moment, Squirk thinking that she has the pace and wants him out of the way.
Yeah, well, what happened there with Mike Dam, Thorman got right onto the back of Mike Dam going through the Michelin chicane, and they almost made contact. They may have actually made a little bit of nose-to-tail contact. I see no damage on either one of those cars, though. But that had to back Thorman up because Thorman had to get on the brakes. Mike got through that Michelin chicane very easily, and you can see what that has done for the gap. Sitting at about 4 tenths, now down to 3 tenths. He is not going to get there down the Mulsanne straight and going into Mulsanne corner. But at the moment, Michelle Squirick is getting more and more impatient because I think she knows how quick Mike Dam is, and she's going to have to want to get around Chris very quickly because Joe Nagy is back there still thinking about what he's going to do here to Michelle Squirick, and Michelle Squirick does not get around Chris very quickly.
Yeah, I think you're right there for sure. She's noticed here she has more pace, and she's going to be looking for that door now for sure. The longer she waits for it, it's most likely. I think she thinks she probably has Mike's number today, and she's going to be able to take it from, as we see Nagy going wide here, the Canadian taking a bit of grass.
Look out.
It's going to leave him very vulnerable to Guidry here in the Porsche curves. Not the best place, honestly, to find yourself behind a rolling roadblock like that. It's, you're in your flow and hitting those marks, and then all of a sudden you got to hit the brakes because there's a car in front of you. So it's going to slow them both down there. Unfortunately, bring Nagy out of that race a little bit more. But yeah, Squire definitely looking for a gap here. I think she thinks that she has the pace today, so gonna have to try to figure that out pretty quick. This place being so long and so big, you'd think it's easy to pass around here, but it's actually kind of deceivingly harder than you would think to make it work and make it clean, and most of all, make it fast so you don't lose 3 seconds to the car in front of you and then just never catch them again.
Right, especially when we do have this little pack up here in the front. This is what you would call a DRS train. If you watch Formula One, these cars don't have DRS, but when you do have the slipstream of that car ahead, it is much tougher to make a move. And Michelle back on the blinkers again, and it looks like Mike Dam either went wide or decided to let Chris go through, and I think I might know why. He may have had a slow down there, but I didn't see a yellow flag. And speaking of slow down, Mike Maunz got one. He is way back there in 12th position at the moment. But yeah, I wonder what happened there to Mike Dam. Now, let's see if Mike goes to make another move here on Thorman. That was weird. Do these cars have fuel issues? No, Mike going for it around the outside.
Yeah, they shouldn't have fuel issues today. We have actually had that rear its head in this series there. We were a little bit worried about it once or twice, but it looks like today should be fine there. But he's going to take that lead back. I think he just went wide there. I'm just looking at my ticker here, and I'm not seeing any off tracks or incidents or anything. So I'm thinking he just pushed the nose there a little bit and let him by, and he's going to kind of regain that now as Squirk's going to get on the back of Thorman again here and see if they can't get by. So a bit of a change up there for a minute. That definitely pushed them back to Nagy a little bit more. So it's kind of put Chester and Nagy back in this fight a little bit. As we can actually see, it looks like Kroom actually and Speaker are beginning to catch up to this group. And, little mistakes like that up at the front are going to cause that to happen. Perhaps we end up with a bit more cars at the front than we had thought, but Mike Dam's going to have to keep it clean now for that not to happen. He's definitely going to be feeling that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Dam with a bit of a minor mistake there. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I know Mike Dam, and I've never seen Mike make a mistake like that, so I don't quite know what his tactics are at the moment. But Mike back into the lead. Michelle Squirick sitting in third. Chris Thorman in between them in second position. Joe Nagy, like you said, is only 0.4 of a second off, and he is now back to the back of Michelle Squirick. And then again, you just got to look back just a little while to see Chester Guidry right now kind of hanging out by himself in no man's land, literal no man's land. 1.6 up to Joe and 1.3 back to John. So really what you need to worry about at the moment for Chester is maybe not catching those guys, but these two are working together. John and Elia working together just a little bit here. Might get back as Michelle. What has happened to Michelle Squirick there?
I just caught that out of the corner of my eye. Saw some smoke and some skidding going into the trees, but it looks like we've somewhat worked it out. So I don't know. We actually didn't get a report as to what happened here. So let's see if maybe we can't go back. We got Mike Dam, Chris Thorne, and Nagy. Yeah, you know what? We got a bit of a shake up here. Let's see if we can't track that down. This might take a replay or two, but bear with me.
Yeah, looking here to see what happens.
Ooh. So this might have been a little earlier. This was a little bit earlier when he regained the lead here. So let's go back. We'll go, let me see here. We got, let's try this. Okay, so that's right when she went off.
She does get wide, still flashing those lights. Here we go. Joe Nagy still behind Michelle. Whoa!
There we are.
That.
And then straightened her out, I think, too, for good measure there. But that's going to be why, and the guns are blaring again. So a mistake from Nagy there into Squirick.
And he goes wide.
Yeah, a little bit of going wide in sympathy. You know, I can feel that pain. Sometimes you hit somebody, you feel so bad about it, you kind of start flustering and you just miss your next three corners. That may have been what happened there. A little bit of sympathy for Michelle after that, going a little deep on the brakes. I'll see if I can't get a better shot of that here momentarily. Yeah, let's see if we can't see maybe from Michelle's rear here. And he's just going to come in a bit too hot, you know? Yeah, just a little bit too hot. That, you know, that's that spot I was talking about in the run up there. If you try to go up the inside of somebody or the outside of somebody there, it almost never works out. I don't think that's what he was planning on at all. He just got on the brakes a bit late. And, yeah, he had to put his nose where there wasn't the car.
Well, it's unfortunate too, Josh, because it looked like he had the car under control. He was down on the inside. It looked like he was going to make the corner. I just don't think Michelle ever expected him to come from that far back to make that move. Yeah. So it's just one of those things that, man, it's just unfortunate. You can't say, hey, here I come. You know, that's not racing. But Michelle had already probably started looking at the apex of the corner when Joe had stuck his nose in there, and it's just really unfortunate for those two drivers. But what that has done for the two leaders, it has given them a 2-second gap. So really, what these drivers can do now is work together, maybe for the next couple laps, because that's all they're going to get in this 4-minute long lap, and then maybe start battling it out there for the win.
Yeah, for sure. They've got a fairly good gap now. You know, we will see now if Michelle Squirick has the pace today over these two, because she's going to have a long ways to catch up here, and she's not going to be in the draft. These two will be a good drafting partners with each other. If they play ball to keep Michelle off of them is what I would be thinking if I was those two right now, is we want to try to keep her right where she is. Let's draft each other. Let's slingshot each other. Let's not fight too hard. All they're going to have to do is get in one mistake, one little fight, and Michelle will be right back in it. We know she has pace. We know she's at the pointy end most races, so she will monopolize on that mistake. But, you know, these two drivers up at the front, not making too many mistakes so far here, so that might be a little bit of an outside chance for her, but we'll see if she has the pace. Going to be pretty hard to catch up with this drafting train, though. And then behind her as well, she may actually fall victim to the cars behind her, who don't have quite as much pace, maybe raw, as she does, but they're in the draft with each other, so if they play ball, they might be able to catch her. So she's in a bit of a tenuous situation at the moment, so she can hold on to it.
We have a battle right now between Chester Guidry and John Kroom. I was just watching this in the relative. Yeah. They are nose to tail as it looks like Guidry gets a little bit wide. Yep. Here comes Kroom again. Oh, this is close, and I can't tell which one's which because they have the same paint jobs, but I think that was Kroom going down the inside of Guidry. No, that was Guidry going down the inside of Kroom to take 5th position. Now, Guidry is, Hey, by the way, guys, same paint jobs are awesome. This is really tough. I do believe right now we're looking at Guidry on the left with Kroom on the right. They are side by side again. and here they come. This is going to be very difficult to get through those S's, and they do get it figured out. Right now, Guidry holding on in 4th place still. John Kroom back in 5th.
Yeah, that's correct there. So Kroom in the blue and Guidry in the Christmas-colored car, we like to call it here on FROC. It's reminding us of Christmas just around the corner. So saw Kroom there actually ticked that wall on the corner. Didn't look like he take any damage, but you can really see, like, you know, the more you can get up close to that wall, generally, the faster you're getting through there. But to be honest, it did not look like either one of them had super great lines through that section of the course, at least on this particular lap, and that wasn't great either for Kroom's going to lose a bit of time here. Chew Speaker, who is now definitely in the chat here for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaker now in this battle as well. And what does Speaker do? And don't look, because Nagy made a mistake with Michelle way back, and now he's back up there too. We know he's quick. We know where he qualified very, very well, actually. Well, actually, he qualified in P6. He's only lost 1 position, but he was quick. He was up there with those leaders, so we know he's quick, as we do get a bit of a blink there from Guidry. Still hanging on, though, for the moment. But here comes Kroom again. I bet you Kroom goes for it here. Oh, bit of a tail there from Kroom. Did you see that? By the way, when these cars get loose, they are tough to save.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right about that. That's a good point. That slip angle that he induced there. You want slip angle like that? That might have been right on the ragged edge of losing the rear of the car. But yeah, when you do lose, you know, you break that angle.
There's some bump drafting going on here.
We're definitely pushing each other here. It looked like he was looking for the push, and maybe Kroom going, please don't push me. I don't want to crash here. And he kind of moving back and forth a little bit, perhaps. I'm not sure. We've been kind of trying to figure out how to, a little wobble from Kroom there as well, but we definitely have a pretty good draft train here now, and I would be really careful about pushing. We're gonna have to keep our eyes out for who can push who and if it's working today.
I think that was actually some pushing, Josh, and I think, like you mentioned, pointy part to pointy part. They are just pointy cars. Look at the front of that Ferrari, especially on some of these paint jobs where you can't, the black paint job, you can't really tell. But they do get very pointy as well. Wow, that was almost a dive by Kroom that would have ended in disaster.
Yeah, you don't want to make it happen there, I don't think, at least in that way. That, you know, even if he would have got the pass, he probably would have got swallowed up by the 2 cars behind them from making that one work if it would have. You really need to facilitate a pass around this place, because every corner has a massive straightaway at the end. As we're going to look up the inside here. This is a great spot. He's going to take it up the inside. I think he's going to get this one.
Oh, that was close, and a terrible time. Very terrible time, actually, for some blinking here. Oh, that is not good, but it looks like Guidry is still around the outside of Kroom with a blink and everything, able to hold on to it around the outside. And here we go into Mulsanne corner. They have got to get this figured out. Is Kroom going to outbrake Guidry here? Guidry on the outside, Kroom on the inside. Don't quite know what's going to happen, and where's Speaker going to go? Looks like he's going around the outside, ends up making it work, and through Indianapolis. Like you said, Josh, got to figure it out before there.
Yeah, it really does. It kind of funnels you down into that section at the bottom, and you got to get it right here. You can kind of start sorting it out now. It looks to me like Kroom's got a little bit more pace than Guidry, but Guidry putting on a really good defensive job here. That being said, it's very hard to throw defense when your car isn't visible. So that was a kind of a difficult one, I think, for Kroom there. I think Kroom probably would have actually pulled away a little bit more if he wasn't indecisive as to where Guidry actually was on track. He just kind of held his position and didn't take that corner wide, and we're gonna have a spinner. That was a grip loss for sure for Kroom.
Yeah, Kroom just gets it wrong. A weird spot. He may have caught the grass or something. We go back and look at it here in 1 second. But looking at now, Speaker, and then obviously right in front of him, Josh, is it Guidry? And if it's Guidry, I've been saying it wrong the whole time, and I apologize, Chester. So now I'm just going to call you Chester for the rest of the race. But yeah, Chester sitting in 4th position at the moment, and Elia Speaker in 5th. Joe Nagy still sitting in 6th. But right now, I want to talk about Chester for a second. Sitting in P4. Oop, that was a bit of a late replay. Josh, why don't you get us one more? There we go.
There we are.
See, you're good at this, Josh. You're great at this. But here we go. Contact is what it was. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Again, not the best spot to go for a move, Josh.
No, I'm going to try to, see he just kind of misjudged it a little bit early on the brakes a little early on the brakes there for Guidry in the front, I believe. Maybe kind of shocked him a little bit. Didn't quite know what to do with the car. Ended up just punting the back of him there. So that was a little messy, honestly. That looked like a bit of a strange place to hit the brakes. A bit of an awkward one.
Yeah, it was awkward. And speaking of awkward, is this shrinking gap between Michelle Squirick and Chris Thorman. It's down to about 2.2 seconds now. So Michelle Squirick, Elia Speaker, that may be why that gap has shrunk down so much. They are working together. Or, no, that is Chris Thorman up there. Chris has made a mistake. Mike Dam is now 2.4 seconds up the road. Michelle Squirick back on for second place here.
Yeah, so it looks like Dam, she's got the speed. He's just making 0 mistakes is going to be my guess here, that Thorman probably made a small mistake, whether that would have been on trying to get by him or missing the brakes or something, and now Squirick's been brought right back into that fight, right where you don't want to see her here for sure. She's definitely going to put the pressure on him and most likely get by him here as the guns are blazing again, letting him know I am coming by soon. Not going to make that one work, though. He's not just going to hand it over, so we'll see what happens here.
It's a weird way to be flashing your lights and then not be making the move. I think this is just, at this point, it might be a bit of a distraction. Ooh. Tactic is there. Michelle goes. A bit of a crossover down there to the inside. Let's see if she can get this overtake done. Looking like she's going to, but is Chris gonna just... Yeah, Chris does lift just a little bit as they come into Mulsanne corner here. Make sure Michelle gets the braking right. She gets a bit wide, but hangs on to it. Barely stays out of the gravel there, or the kitty litter, as you Canadians like to say. And she continues on, and she does make that second place happen. And now 2.8 seconds up to Mike Dam, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, if I was them, I'd maybe start trying to work together, see if we can't get Mike Dam. But that being said, I mean, it's points, right, at the end of the day and everything. So you want to fight for this position, maybe for Thorman here, and maybe second or third is the best he can get. So second, you know, might be pretty... he might want that one for sure, but Squirick's not going to let him have it. I'm interested to see if Squirick on raw pace here is going to be able to put any laps down and see if he can't, or see if she can't take some time out of Mike Dam here. And we will see how it goes, because it looks like she's got the pace today of the field. We can actually have a quick look here at our best times. And it actually is going to be Mike Dam out front, so it's hard to say whether that was with a draft early in the race or if that's just raw. I'm going to guess that's probably with a draft, but we'll see how it goes here. Thorman definitely not going to give her an easy time of this, though. Has not let her slip at all yet so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be a bit of an ask, to say the least, for Michelle Squirick to get up to the back of Mike Dam. Like I said, I've covered him. I know how quick he is, and he's going to be a tough one to catch when he gets out in clean air like that. But crazier things have happened, and crazier things have happened while I've been in the broadcast booth as well. We mentioned this at the beginning of the race. It looks like an easy track, but there are quite a few spots to make mistakes. Like you said, these chicanes like that, as Mike Dam gets it up on two wheels around the final chicane and down the start-finish line at 23 minutes. Barney, the flagman, ain't going to wave it yet. We got 2 more laps, Josh.
Yeah, we'll get a couple more out of this one for sure. And it's true, this place is deceivingly hard. You know, even this actually T1 section here is probably one of the hardest sections on the course for me. It's just, I don't know how many times I've gotten on the brakes thinking that you're trying to just basically not squish an egg underneath your brake pedal to try to get it just right through there, and it just doesn't work. You end up sideways. It's just a really easy place where the car gets light to make a mistake. Once you get the grip down and you've done it a few times, track warms up, that whole section seems to be a little bit different. But those first laps, or if you're wearing your tires out near the end there, that first complex of corners there can be very difficult, really easy place to make a mistake. Or right here, we see Squirick going through, just testing the limits of the track there, and that place is... I've gotten off tracks there and just been sure that shouldn't have been an off track, and I've not gotten off tracks there and been like, how did I not get an off track there? So that place is pretty difficult, and you can just slingshot your way through it when you get it right. It's actually really fun when you get it right.
Hey Josh, you want to know? I now know that Mike Dam is clearly the fastest car on the track. He just ran a 37.94 compared to Michelle's 39.04. Fastest lap of the race for Mike Dam. That was 2 seconds faster than Michelle Squirick.
Yeah, that's a fast one, and that's on raw pace as well. So the wiggly bits for Mike Dam are no problem here today for sure. That's where you're going to find the time here. Obviously, we're all running the same machinery. I mean, they even have a draft behind him here potentially, and they're not able to get him. So He's real fast through the squiggly stuff, and I think we saw that earlier. You know, you could see, we were going into the Porsche curves and just watching him take off. Basically, we saw Squirek actually really struggling so far. The 2 times that I have watched her go through there now, and Thorman as well, really struggling through the Porsche curves area, trying to get that car down to the apex, turned in and on the gas as early as possible. Not getting it done, kind of hustling a little bit too much, where I bet you if we watch Mike Dam go through it, it's going to be nice and smooth. He's going to hit those apex, he's going to accelerate through them, where the 2 cars behind there are kind of fighting it.
Yeah, absolutely. You are onto something there, and we're going to go ahead and stay here with these leaders because I believe this is the only battle. Actually, I say that. Looks like Joe Nagy has caught back up to Chester there. About 0.7 of a second for Joe Nagy to the back of Chester there in 4th position, and they still have 1 lap here, and 1 lap is a very, very long time around Le Mans. About 3 minutes and 49 seconds, or 47, depending on who you're looking at, to be honest. But it's still a pretty long time, so there is still plenty of time for Joe to get back up to the back of Chester to make that move. 0.5 of a second between Chris and Michelle, and about 0.5 of a second between Chester and Joe as well.
Yeah, we're pretty spread out, kind of like we said at the beginning here. That's what's going to happen at a track like this. It's, you're going to find that those who really know the track really well and can extract those extra tenths every single lap out of it. And of course, by the end of 30 minutes, you're going to see that reflected. There's so much straightaway to just haul that time when you've made it. If you're a little bit faster, maybe not quite as many areas to make mistakes as some other tracks, although they are out there. Just a difficult track. It's a difficult, strange track. There's not anything quite like it out there that I can think of. It's very unique, and it offers a unique challenge. Like we were saying on the run up at the beginning, some people really like this place and it meshes with them. Other people not so much, and they kind of just want to get it over with. So we're kind of seeing that here, I think, today as well. We do have a bit of a fight back here, I believe, with Mackey and Jenkins for, I believe this is, 9th and 10th place. And we're going to give him the producer's curse there. As soon as I come back, shoot the camera on him, he's going to get very sideways into the wall. Unfortunate for Jenkins.
Yeah, that is extremely unfortunate for Jenkins. Jake Mackey does get by him there, and Elias Specker just runs his fastest lap of the race as well. What happened here to Jenkins? A bit of curb there. That doesn't really seem to be...
Touch the wall.
What a weird spot to lose the car.
Yeah, that was weird. I've actually had a very similar... See if we maybe we'll roll that back here in a minute if we have the time. We got some people taking the pit lane. So something is up here fuel-wise for them, or perhaps this is some kind of a... Not exactly sure what we're seeing here. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what we're seeing. With this little time left in the race, that is nothing but going to lose you a bunch of time. So I don't know if they didn't fuel right, or I'm not exactly sure what's happening here. I'm at a bit of a loss.
Yeah, we're going to see if they drive through or if they do stop for fuel. But even if it is
through... Oh, no, he's coming in.
A lot of these drivers coming into the pits here, they are actually stopping. So,
okay, maybe we have a fuel stop that we weren't aware of. Maybe Mike Dam will have to come into the pit. I'm really not sure exactly what's going on right there, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, well, let's see. We're going to find out here. If Mike Dam's going to do it, he's going to have to do it pretty quick here, because I'm pretty sure Barney the flagman will be waving the white flag on this lap. Maybe, or this could be the white flag lap.
Yeah.
This might be it, and if that is it, and if Mike hasn't stopped yet, clearly he doesn't need to. He must have put enough fuel in the car. I don't know. I wonder if again, I just wonder, Josh, if there were some tactics being played here, because we do know that grid gets inverted. But
Very
to
true.
see, it looks like one person sparked it off and then everybody behind him came in, because I don't know, Josh. I really don't.
I think you might be onto something there, Adam. I think you might be onto something. They're playing the long game here. Somebody noticed, hey, if I pull into the pit right now, let these 3 guys by, I'm going to end up in first next race, and maybe I'll give that a shot. Either that, or we've missed a bunch of off-tracks here, which I'm not seeing, to be honest, on my ticker, and or an accident or two, and those were drive-thrus, but I think that's a little bit less likely, to be honest. I'm thinking maybe you're onto something there, Adam. They've decided to jump in the pit to lose a bit of time, potentially, and I'm not really sure that that's something they can do. Either that or there's something we don't know here. Maybe they somehow started the race with quali fuel. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, all speculations up here, so please do not kill us if we got any of that wrong. We're just trying to speculate here. We're kind of like, David Croft and Martin Brundle. We just like to talk sometimes. But you know what? At the moment, we got to talk. Speaking of talking, Mike Dam, way out in front, 2.5 seconds, gonna win this race, going to start inverted, and I have a serious feeling that he's gonna be able to win the second race as well. Like I mentioned, if there's anywhere he's going to do it, it is going to be here at Le Mans with only 12 drivers out there. Chris Thorman right now sitting in third position, doing okay. Michelle Squirick did absolutely check out, didn't she, when she got past Chris?
Yeah, definitely. She had a bit of pace there for sure. I think, in the next race here, if she gets a chance, she'll have a chance for a win here with Mike Dam. I think maybe she had the pace, at least to keep up with him here, as I think we're about to get the checkered flag here. So Mike Dam's going to win. Heat 1, Squarick in second, Chris Thorman third, Joe Nagy fourth, Ilya Spiker in fifth, and John Kroom rounding out the top 7 there for now. In a bit of an odd one here and there.
I got to talk about it. You know what? I'm going all out, man. I am taking this one to the grave. I think whoever started that round of pits, I don't think they had to, but I'm pretty sure everyone behind him saw what he was doing, and they all decided to come in too. I think that person in final position right now, Sean Mulholland, wants that win or wants that lead for the second race here at Le Mans, and I think the only way he thinks he's going to have a good shot, like most of the people that probably came into the pits to try to game that system, thought they wanted to do it from the back there and to get that inverted. But right now we're watching it. Chester Guidry, come across the line in 9th position. Tom Jenkins, Jake Mackey, and Sean are the last 3, and it's going to take a hot minute for Sean to get there. 39 seconds behind Jake Mackey.
Yeah, pretty spread out field there for sure. And I think you're probably right. Once that driver decided to take the pit, he somewhat forced everyone else's hand to do so as well. I think they probably saw, hey, wait a minute, I'm not just going to give this up, and I'll pull into the pit too, and then you're not going to be able to do what you think you're going to do to me here. And that's probably what happened. I think you're probably right. Isn't people gaming the system here a little bit? Should make for an interesting final here as we'll get Sean Mulholland coming through the Porsche curves here, having a bit of trouble at Le Mans today. Kind of everybody actually through the Porsche curves. The only body who really got the Porsche curves nailed down was Mike Dam today.
Yeah, I think you're right there. And as we're watching Sean around the final few corners here, going to get very interesting with Sean, who is coming across the line 39 seconds behind the rest of the field, starting in P1. We could be in store for a bit of a barn burner here at the beginning of this race, at least, Josh. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers are able to navigate the slower ones, or maybe Sean has been pimping us the whole time. Who knows?
Yeah, we shall see here for sure. Yeah, who was sandbagging, who might not be sandbagging, who's going to be up at the front, who didn't have the pace, who might find some pace. I've seen some weird things like that happen too, where you have a driver who's just really not there in the first race, but they found something. On the second last lap they were out there, all of a sudden they're 4/10 faster, 5/10 faster, and they just kind of throw all of your predictions out the window. So we're not really sure how this one's going to play out, but surely with those fast drivers at the back and the slower drivers up at front, this is going to be a bit of a cluster on the first lap. Going to have to be very clean and respect everybody, or we could have some disasters and some new winners.
All right, Josh, I'm going to put you in Mike Dam's shoes while we're waiting on this warm-up and the grid to set. Mike Dam starting in P12. You've got 30 minutes around Le Mans. How do you get to the front?
Yeah, that's going to be a difficult one. You're going to have to do it one car by one. Take every corner one by one. Don't try to take 5 people at once because you're faster. Don't try to rush it. Just be calm. There's 20 minutes out there to get it done. You're fast. The drivers are respectful out here. The last thing you want to do is rush it, make a mistake, and lose it all in one of the corners around here. He has the speed. There's lots of drafting around here. So as long as he can keep those wiggly bits clean and keep himself clean, it really shouldn't be that big of a deal. Now, that being said, if somebody decides to play ball or there's a big fight happening in front of him and he gets caught up in it, well, all that goes out the window. And, like I believe it was Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a really good plan about how a fight's going to go until they get a shot in the nose and it hurts and their eyes are all full of water. And then what do you do? And that's kind of what it's going to be like out there for Mike Dam today, I think.
And the one thing that I've seen as well are some rebounds, some people that have gone off track or got sideways and, were able to save their race. Michelle Squirick is a driver that I have to bring up. Like, we saw her rebounds, which shows her pace. And that is going to be something that Michelle is going to be starting back there with Mike. And that is just going to be super interesting, as we do have the warm-up here going for another 3-ish minutes, unless they decided to send it a little early, because I do see that it says we're gridding here. It's weird. But anyways, another warm-up going here for about 3 minutes. But yeah, Michelle was able to rebound from that early contact and able to finish P2. So again, she's quick, but she's going to have the same issue Mike does, starting on the back row.
Yeah, absolutely. We know from multiple series now through Mazdas especially, and a few other types of machinery there, that Michelle is fast behind the wheel, and she's always going to find that advantage. I think she's probably, if you were to look at the RSCR stats, has maybe won more races RSCR wise than any driver, or pretty darn close. It looks like somebody like Mike Mann, of course, if he was, Mike Dam, was it Mike Mann? Mike Mann. If he was around, maybe could have thrown a bit of a wrench in those gears, later or earlier in some of the racing that we've done in some of the other series here. But Michelle Squirick's not going to be an easy one to pass. She's a consummate racer. She's going to put one up the inside. Always very clean too. We haven't seen too many mistakes or bad moves out of either one of those drivers. So, starting from the back out and trying to get through all these other drivers while you're trying to figure out a strategy to get by your compatriot there, it's going to be a little bit difficult, I think.
Yeah, and I am so glad I'm not in the shoes. I'm sitting up here in my comfy broadcasting booth at the moment. Might get a little bit more uncomfy if I keep throwing out these hot takes about racetracks and what these drivers are doing. But as of right now, still waiting here about one more minute
for a tree. Are you seeing that right now?
Yeah. I did. I saw that. Yes.
What is that? That's quite the engineering feat there. They just had to have that tree there. So boom, cut a hole in the roof, get her done. That's an odd one.
Done.
Not sure why I had to mention that, but pretty strange.
I'm sure it has
they really
nothing
do model
to
everything.
Yeah, well, it could be that, or I'm sure it has nothing to do with the way iRacing actually modeled it. Maybe that tree shouldn't actually be there. But again, I'm not going on that hot take, because I've already gone on too many tonight, Josh.
Too many hot takes. Yeah, it's flying too close to the sun with the hot takes.
Exactly. But right now we're about 20-ish seconds from the grid here. Again, it's going to be a bit of a longer pace lap, even though it's a short pace lap. Let these drivers kind of settle in, get ready. We've got drivers like Sean Mulholland starting up there in P1, going to try to get his sights set, get calmed down. You've raced for 30 minutes. You've made all the mistakes, and that's another thing, Josh, we can talk about. You've made all the mistakes. You know where the mistakes are going to happen. You did have some time in practice qualifying, but you've just raced wheel to wheel for 30 minutes. So I think this race, we're going to see a lot of drivers show a lot more pace.
Yeah, I agree. Usually, at least myself anyway, I've a lot of the time, even on the weekend warriors and stuff like that on the weekends, I'll go out there in qualifying, not really have an idea, and then all of a sudden, bam, I'm finding pace. So let's hope we can get that today with Tom Jenkins going to lead us in first place, Chester Guidry in second, Mike Mann in third. In fourth place, we have John Kroom in fifth, Jeff Jacobs in sixth, Ilya Speaker in seventh, Joe Nagy in eighth, Chris Thorman ninth, Michelle Squirick 10th. We have Mike Dam, Jake Mackey in 11th, Sean Mulholland in 12th. The flip order should be pretty interesting this time. I'm excited to get this one going. I think these first couple chicanes here are going to really tell us a whole lot about exactly what we're in for.
Hey, Josh, just a bit of an FYI. Clearly, as I now see, only the top 10 get inverted. So I've been saying Sean Mulholland's going to be starting this race from the front. He's not.
Yes,
it's going to be Tom
10.
Jenkins. Yep, top 10 inverted. Thanks for just thanks for letting me say that, Josh. You're being a real great co-commentator, man. But no,
I should have known that.
Yeah. I'm just kidding, but yeah. Tom Jenkins actually going to be starting from the lead, and Chester Guidry as well. Chester we know is quick. We saw him going wheel to wheel. So Chester may have a chance even to win this race. Again, it just depends how the two fastest drivers get through this field. How quickly will they get through the field? And those two quickest drivers, I'm sorry about everybody else, but it's got to be Michelle Squirick and Mike Dam.
Yeah, for sure. So they're back now in 9th and 10th place. Got a definite feat ahead of them here to get around everybody. But honestly, if there was a track that I wanted to do a front-to-back challenge on, and I was the fastest driver, this would probably be the one I picked. You can pass people down the straightaways. You know, you don't have to deal with, let's say, a bunch of tight corners and a tight track. There's lots of room to get it done around here.
Well, Josh, anybody can do a front-to-back challenge. You've watched me in some of my racing. I can go front-to-back pretty freaking
back to front
quick,
is what I mean.
There we go.
I go front-to-back every week too, brother.
But anyways,
you know what I mean.
We're watching this formation lap right now. Tom Jenkins, Chester Guidry, an AM driver, by the way, sitting on the front row. Mike Mann, John Kroom, Jeff Jacobs, Elias Speaker, Joe Nagy, Chris Thorman, Michelle Squirick, Mike Dam, Jake Mackey, and Sean Mulholland all ready to go for the second race, their second 30-minute race of the night. Give me some bold predictions, Josh.
My bold prediction is that, you know what, I'm going to go right out there and say Michelle Squirick's going to get this one. After the first one, I think she, she had it between her teeth there. I think she had the pace, but she wasn't quite showing it. It's all going to matter with traffic, obviously, but I would like to see her and Mike Dam battle it out here. I think she might be able to take it today.
I think you're right. I mean, we were talking about that gap, and Mike Dam did set the fastest lap by quite a bit, but he set one quick lap. And the gap really didn't extend as much as we thought it was going to. So going to be interesting to see what type of actual pace Michelle has now that she's close enough to him, and she's got to get around all the traffic. But right now the traffic is all going green. Looks like Tom Jenkins gets a great start. Look how far ahead he is from Chester Guidry back in second, and that's when it turns into a hornet's nest. 2 wide, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 all the way back. They file out all the way up to P4 right now, though. Tom Jenkins, wow, what a move by Mike Mann around the inside. Looks like that was Joe Nagy going wide again. What has happened to Mike Mann as well?
Yep, that's Mike Mann out, and we saw Squirick there making up. She's in third place already. She made up basically the entire field in 2 corners right there, was able to squeak through. I had my eye on her, so I sort of missed what happened to Mann, but everything that was happening on the outside, she missed. She squeezed through and by like 5 cars there in between those 2 corners. So I think my prediction may just come true here. We have a gamer on our hands, and she was able to get in there and get that done. And unfortunately, Mike Mann fell into the back of the pack right at the beginning.
Yeah, that was super unfortunate. Go back and watch that after this gets a little bit less sketchy, because right now it's going to be real sketchy. Michelle Squirick trying to go around the inside through Daytona chicane in the first lap.
Gets it done.
It does appear like Tom Jenkins just said, go ahead. Oh my goodness, Joe Nagy off the track again. He is struggling big time. There's another driver off the track as well, missing the front end.
Big damage. Yeah, big damage on Speaker there. Nagy definitely getting some pressure there from behind as well. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened here. We will catch up with some replays here when we get a chance. Mike Dam here making some passes now. We'll see what he can recover here, but I think getting all the way back up to Squirick and making that happen is going to be a bit of a long shot at this stage, but wouldn't be surprised to see him up in the podium positions here by the end, as he's going to look up the inside, going, taking some interesting track limits there for Mulholland ahead of him as well. But, yep, we're getting it done here one way or another.
Oh, that looks real bad, but it looks like Mike Dam right now just trying to keep the car clean. I think unless he has damage, he might have damage that we can't see, because he's really fallen back, actually. Not seeing Mike really making any moves. We will, again, go back and watch that right now. Michelle Squirick in third position. Don't look now, but that interval's only, my goodness, it's still a hornet's nest back there. But that interval to the front is 0.2 seconds, down to 0.1. Why don't we make it 0.1, Josh?
Yeah, we're real close here at the front. So, again, we want to make this work. Michelle needs to just execute this pass properly. There's no need to really force it or anything here. Maybe Guidry will give it up here. This is that scary spot I was talking about that you don't really want to, and we're going to lose Guidry. That's always very scary for the driver beside you, especially when you're trying to take the lead in a corner like that and the person disappears. So I think she did the right thing there, actually just backed out of it. Like, okay, I'm just going to back out. I don't know where he's going to appear, so let's get out of here. And she's going to take the inside up into that one fairly
Great move.
easily. Yep, and we should, you know, without mistakes here, probably going to see her pull away. If I was Guidry, I would be taking notes.
Oh, yeah. Take note. Stick as close to that back bumper as possible, because right now you are going to find that Michelle is, at the moment, the fastest car on track here. Looking for Mike Dam right now up into P8. He's actually lost a position. He is back there in an absolute nest of drivers right now. Joe Nagy going for another move. Oh, seems to make it work, but Joe's been all over the racetrack here for the first lap.
Yeah, I sort of took a look up the inside of the Porsche curves there, thought better of it. You don't want to go too wide through here all the way. That would have, this whole train of cars behind them would have been, probably got past them at this stage if you would have tried that. So thought right of it, filed back in, go through them single file. You don't want to go too wide through there ever, unless it's the last lap of the race and it's for the championship. You don't really want to do something like that. Got a pretty good pack of cars here in the mid-pack this time. Looks like we're going to have a fairly good race mid-pack wise. Michelle Squirick now beginning to pull that gap, 2.6 seconds already. So again, you know, through the squiggly bits, get through this first section, I bet you she grabbed a second, you know, by the time she gets out to the straightaway. And then you just drag it out from there, and then every chicane she's going to pull a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. You can see actually that's starting to kind of come down a bit, because there's probably a tickle of a draft here for I believe this is Guidry as well. There's a bit of a tickle of a draft for him probably still, but that's going to go away pretty soon. He will fall victim perhaps to Jeff Jacobs here, who's doing fairly well so far in this one, up in third place. See how long he can hold on to that one. And we do have some people in the pit. Mike Mann, Speaker, and Kroom.
Yeah, well, that is unfortunate. We saw kind of what happened there at the beginning. We can go back and watch that here soon. Actually, why don't we watch it right now, see exactly what happens to these drivers.
Unfortunate. That was netcode, I believe, a little bit. Not that they weren't going to make connection there. I believe they probably were still going to make contact. But you can see here, if you look real closely, he's going to get a little shove.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then he almost corrected it too, but then the little tap on the inside from Kroom, and then center punch from Speaker. And that's going to be that for Mike Mann today. So pretty unfortunate, the dramatic slow-mo and everything.
Man, that's, well, slow motion broadcasting, you can't not do a slow-mo, right, Josh? But,
that's fair.
yeah, that really does suck. Sorry, but it does suck for...
It does suck, yes.
For Mr. Mann. Unfortunate for how good he was doing. I mean, making some good moves, but just today was not the day. And quickly, while we're watching here, we're going to go ahead and rename this final part of the track, Josh. We're going to rename it from the Porsche chicanes all the way through the Ford chicane to the start-finish line. In honor of you, I'm going to name that the Squiggly Bit section.
Nice.
You,
I like it.
I mean, Squiggly Bit, I chuckle every time I hear it. So Squiggly Bits, from now on, I will call him that.
Nice. I like it. Well, we'll have to put that on the track map later on, and we'll call iRacing, see if they'll adopt it. We'll see how that goes. I'm not sure. The Squiggly Bit sounds fairly British, right? It sounds something like Martin Brundle would say, maybe. But yeah,
sure.
No, that's what I call them. As I'm going through there, I just try to get those Squiggly Bits as fast as I possibly can. That's probably my favorite section of the course. Although again, I have lost a couple races through there for sure. I think I'm going to stick with Michelle Squirick here, actually.
Yeah.
As we go down through that section, because we watched her earlier struggling, and if I think the issue was a little bit overspeed. So you're taking a little too much speed into the initial part of that section, and if you do, it just ruins the whole section for you. You really need to have some discipline through there. We're seeing a bit of side-by-side racing in the back there. I don't think that's for position, but they are side-by-side racing back there. He's trying to make up some positions, I believe. We're still going to stick with Michelle here and just see how she executes this section here. So nice touching that in curb on the inside. You want to get it nice and wide, stay off the power as wide as you can, touch that outside nice and in. Then this is the important one. You got to slow it right down and make sure, much better line through there this time. You can see this car just doesn't want to play ball through here, does it, Adam?
No, it does. I mean, This reminds me of every GT3 I've ever
So
driven,
true.
and it just does not turn. It does not
Yeah.
want to turn.
No, it doesn't want to.
Just the amount of understeer that you saw from Michelle going through there. And now the one thing about these GT3s, I'm going to say this now, and it's going to come back to bite me, is they do handle curbs quite well.
Yep.
So that helps a little bit because it is going to understeer out onto the curb. You can't stop it. But at the moment, it looks like Mike Dam is still in a bit of a battle here. Looks like at the moment, for now, he has gotten around Chris Thorman. But looks like Thorman might be coming back at him. Mike doesn't really chop it off. He just opens up the turn 1 through Dunlop. But yeah, he's got some room to make up. And you know, the other thing I wanted to mention about Michelle, back to that point, I wonder if she was pushing a bit hard to try to get around drivers. Now she doesn't have to push. She knows she's ahead. She is way ahead, about 2 seconds ahead, actually. Doesn't have to push, just has to run a race. Right now, she's running qualifying laps for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And she's very good at that as well. Just kind of settling in and getting the race completed here is one of her strong points, I think, for sure. You know what? We're going to see if maybe we can't have a quick look at her start here while we're waiting, because it was quite the start. And I'm probably going to click on the wrong one here, and it's going to be in the warm-up lap. Yeah, and we'll kind of go down the list here until we see that actual start. So I'm going to go on board with her here and just watch how well she picks away some of these drivers here. There goes half the field.
Wow.
Great start. And then this very opportunistic move here we're going to see up the inside, I believe. So a little bit sketchy here. You're waiting to kind of see what happens. We know she has a car on her outside here. You're going to see them go wide. They make a little bit of contact, and she's going to cut way down to the inside. Whoop. And get one more driver there for third place. So really, really good heads-up driving there from Michelle Squarick to grab all those positions at the beginning of the race like that. She made up, what, 7-8 positions in like 3 seconds there?
Speaking of 3 seconds, look at Mike Dam now on the back of Joe Nagy. Sorry, that went from 3 to about nothing. Mike Dam has just now made the move on Joe Nagy. Joe Nagy is really slow. He just got passed by 2. He's got a black flag. He's going to have to serve a drive-through. I do not think he served his slowdown quick enough. He was trying to, and he just got passed by 2 drivers because of it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You know, this place, if I had one, well, you know, the only times I've ever really messed up around here, it's always going to be those. It's always going to be off tracks. This place is easy to get, especially, you know, the second race now. We're probably going to see a little more of them, getting a little more comfortable with those limits, a little more comfortable with the car, start taking a little more curb, take a little bit more exit and stuff like that. And unfortunately, it looks like Joe Nagy found out here, and he's going to have to pull her in. And that's going to pretty much end it in a short race like this. Only got 10 minutes or 20 minutes left. You're not going to be able to make that back up.
Especially around Le Mans, we know, I mean, that pit, the pit lane itself isn't the longest pit lane I've ever seen, but the pit entry takes forever. You've got to get through those S turns, which you've also got to be careful of getting into the pit lane. And we can actually watch Joe here when we get back to that, if he decides to drive it all the way around or just give up. But yeah, that pit lane entry, we haven't talked about it. I didn't expect us to have to see it tonight. It's a treacherous one.
Yeah, it really is. Honestly, actually, another place I've messed up around here is on that pit entrance. It's so long, it sort of begs you to overspeed it, to just take it fast. And it's just really simple to make a mistake if you touch the grass there, and then there's just like a field of grass to meet you, and you can't stop, and you spin. And you can see this line that Mike Dam's taking through here. At least that first section was a little bit more on point. Last section, not quite so much, but able to kind of hold the car together a little bit cleaner through there, as we're seeing. I think that's definitely he's got a bit of a better line there than most other people.
I just watched Mike Dam claw 0.5 of a second away from Jeff Jacobs through those Porsche curves.
Yep.
He has got that figured out, but he caught a lot of curb on the left there into the right. That final right hand, I cannot pronounce that. We're going to call it the Ford chicanes. The final right hander, that curb on the left, spit him out into that sausage curb. Mike Dam's lucky to get away with that. Jeff Jacobs now in P3, but man, look at how quick Mike Dam has caught him, already down to 0.9 of a second.
Yeah, it's crazy. So again, through those wiggly bits, right? I think one of the things you need in these cars is braking ability, something I do not have in the GT3s. I'm used to no ABS at all, so I'm used to kind of tiptoeing around and really using my own foot to feel that pressure out, where these cars, totally the opposite. You want to just jump on the brakes as hard as you possibly can, and then kind of bleed off them as you get into the corner, I believe is the way to do it. And I've just not been able to wrap my head around that. And it looks like someone like Mike Mann here, not only has he figured out, or sorry, Mike Dam, sorry, not only has he figured it out, he's figured out how to roll off those brakes and get back onto the power and not upset the car and stuff, you know, and I'm not able to do that. He's able to just get through these sections so quickly and smoothly. I've not learned that in the GT3 cars. I can't finesse them like that. I'm not sure why.
Again, Josh, Suzuka flashbacks. Please stop talking. Oh my God, that first section is just horrendous. But right now, we are about to watch Mike Dam go for a move for P4 here. Sorry, P3 on Jeff Jacobs. Then he's got Chester up there in front of him. After he makes the move, is Jeff going to let him go, or is he going to fight this? Looks like Jeff lets him go pretty easily here. Jeff is going to try to maybe fight this back. Look at how much quicker Mike Dam was on exit there out of that first chicane out of Daytona.
Yeah, he's got such a good line, and he's so smooth through there. Let's actually take a quick peek at this pass and then maybe how he entered this corner. Again, this just shows he's been around this track a lot. You know, he knows exactly where to take these curbs and how to take them, how much to take them. You can kind of straight line this, just all the curb.
I mean, just watch this. Look at that blue car disappear in the mirror.
Yep. Yeah, he's able to.
Unbelievable.
Not only is he getting on the brakes better, he's getting on the gas earlier and stuff as well. So just kind of showing us how it's done in the GT3 cars through the wiggly bits, as I like to say.
All right, this is the last time. Mike Dam Fan Club, I'm out of it after this one. But right now, the gap to Michelle Squirick is 7 seconds. He's pulled in about 0.3 of a second this lap. He's out into clean air now, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that gap. But right now, Chester is holding his own about 2.8 seconds ahead of Mike. So we'll have to see how Chester does now that he knows Mike is behind him. Chester, again, an AM driver right now in P2, Josh. I'm rooting for Chester to keep this position.
Yeah, the pressure is building on the AM driver, the weight of the pro drivers all around you trying to get it done here in the green and red car. We've seen some really good results actually out of Chester this season. He's been punching above his weight more than a couple times. So if any AM can do it and hold position here, it's probably Chester. So hopefully, at least we've got quite a bit of time left here. It's going to be difficult to hold off that pace, but we shall see. You know, it's one thing to catch up to somebody, it's another to get by them cleanly and make it work. So we'll see what happens there, but that could very well play into the hands of Michelle Squirick as well. It does look like Mike Dam has the pace today. Michelle Squirick, being the gamer though, is able to just get up there and get it done so early in the race. It's not going to matter, I don't think, but we shall see. There is still some time left here.
There is some time, about 15 minutes left, only halfway through that race. Start looking at that gap. But Josh, I'm going to do something on air that I don't normally do, and I'm going to ask you if you've got your trading paints running, because what I'm seeing is Chester Guidry in an American flag blue, red, white car. So we may have to figure that out. And when I did mention that they both had the same paint jobs, that might have been on me as well, because apparently they didn't. So, we're going to go ahead and keep going.
I can try reloading it here. Maybe they did change, because they have changed their liveries a couple times. I did load the paints today, but maybe we'll try a reload. They have changed liveries a couple times, so they're all the same, but they've been changing colors here and there every once in a while. So perhaps for some reason my PC decided to load his old paint from last race. If it did, I do apologize for that. Trying my best here to work with the paint system, but we shall see how that works out. I'll see if I can't do a refresh here in a minute, though. Maybe we can change them.
Yeah, no problem. It is what it is. It could be me too. But yeah, sitting here looking at Michelle Squirick right now. Still class of the field at the moment. 5.9 now back to Mike Dam as Mike Dam goes for the move on Chester. Chester probably just let him through as well. Yeah, like you said, sailed past him. Look at that gap now, down to 6. Yeah, I mentioned it was down to 7. It's now down to 6 to Michelle. He still has time to get there.
Yep, he sure does. Actually, we should have a quick look here at the best times. I'm assuming that he's probably set the best time, and he sure has by a considerable amount. That's about a second a lap here. So there's time to get this done.
That was on the last lap as well.
Yep. Now there's definitely time to get this done. He's not going to have the benefit of that draft anymore, but we know he can set. Didn't he get a 49 by him or 47 by himself last time? So
Yeah,
so it's
he did.
I mean, he's capable of doing it. Michelle up there, I would imagine Michelle's not going, as fast as she possibly can right now, stressing about it either. Once she starts to see him start to catch up, maybe he'll or she will speed up a little bit, but he's got a chance to do it at this stage. And if I was Guidry here, I would attach myself to the back of Man for as long as I could to hold on to this third place.
Yeah, 100%. I would too, as Guidry gets another bit of a blink there, but I just decided to check the weather just in case tire wear would become a factor at the end of this race. It's about 75 degrees ambient temp, but the sun is beating down on it. And I wonder, you can see a bit of a heat haze, I guess, coming off the racetrack. You wonder if these drivers are just maybe working their tires in, because we did start seeing some mistakes. As speaking of mistake, Michelle goes a bit wide into the gravel trap. Not going to hurt her too much at all there. I don't think she is getting close to that wall, though, coming out of Mulsanne.
Yeah, real close. That's, I've found that wall once or twice, too. I've done so many laps around here. I think I've found probably every wall or mistake around here. Although I haven't really, I haven't been on this track in quite a while. I really used to like to drive it. I actually do. I'm just getting in the chat here, the XMS software. I actually do have it running, so I'm not sure why it didn't update here. I'll keep looking at that. It sounds like maybe there was supposed to be a paint update that did not come through here, so I'll do my best to try to get that fixed in the background here while we are racing. But
you know what? That's on me, because I'm not
up.
running the XMS software. That one's on me, Josh. I think you're good, buddy. I'm not.
Maybe.
So we're going to
in the chat here
too,
too, but we'll see. Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on here to Mike Dam. Apologies, guys. I just called out the owner of SMB, but I don't think you're going to fire me.
No problems at all. No, not your fault.
Moving forward here to Mike Dam now, 5.9 seconds back. Really wasn't able to gain that much back on Michelle Squire. K-Fox, by the way. Thank you, Casey Knight, for joining the chat, watching Michelle. Oh, my goodness. Mike again caught a lot of curb, and look what that did to that interval. Back up to 6.5.
Yeah, you can see it reflect so quickly like that. The tiny little mistake. And, you can't make a mistake like that with Mike Dam around here. He's a bit of a metronome this evening. He's able to just slap those laps in like they're nothing here. You can see him. Even just the attitude of the car while he's going through these sections looks smoother. He's hopping over the curbs. It looks a little bit more progressive and smooth than some of the other cars. The inputs aren't quite as sporadic and stuff. He's letting the car eat, so to speak, and everybody else may be struggling a little bit out there today with some of these curbs and stuff. So again, one of those specialty tracks I think.
Absolutely, and I do have to mention one more thing. Casey popped in, and I wasn't looking, but now I am. Said stayed away from the draft track after previous events. Casey, I'm sure you can't be talking about the RES event last week at Daytona. You can't be, Casey. There's no way you could be talking about getting crashed out from almost the lead on the final lap. But we're not going to go there, even though I just did. Back to Michelle Squire, the person you're probably watching, Casey, sitting about 6.3 seconds ahead of Mike Dam, and that gap is really holding steady, very steady. At this point, Mike needs to gain about 6-ish seconds within 6 minutes, because this is going to happen very quick, the final lap, and I don't think he's got it. That's a second a lap. I don't think he's going to get there. I think Michelle Squire, not trying to commentator's curse her, has this in the bag for now.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. You can see that gap sort of represented physically there in that last shot. That's a long one. He's just kind of starting the back of that straightaway as she's finishing it off here and getting into the corner. So, no, I don't think he's going to have the pace again. And unless, we have something up at the front here, don't think he's going to be able to make that one happen, even though he does have some mighty pace here today, a second faster basically every lap that he's putting in here. So definitely has some pace around here. We might have to recruit him for the SMB 24-hour of Le Mans team next season here. I'm going to keep him in mind, see if we can't get a win out there. But just behind him, we do still have a bit of a fight between Thorman and Guidry, who continues to blink out. And I think maybe he's kind of noticing that now too. And I've seen him sort of move in sort of reaction to that, I think, as well. He knows he's blinking. He's trying not to mess anybody's day up while still remaining pointy. But this is going to be our closest battle on the track right now.
It is, and right now Thorman has already, like you mentioned, got around Guidry, and ooh, that is a good cam shot. You can see the speed they carry going into Indianapolis, and again, that is Yeah, you don't realize how quick they're going to Indianapolis until you get shunted there, right, Josh?
That's right. Yes, I clipped that inside curb, and I mean it was like a fighter jet crash. Honestly, it scared me. When I was in the, I don't get like it hard to get scared in a simulator. It actually scared me. It actually made me jump a little bit when the car snapped, and then I clipped that inside wall, and I just had a fighter jet crash basically into it. That was the end of it, and it was all on me too. Nobody around me or anything. I just clipped that curb, and whoop, the car just took off. Yeah, that section is mega in real life. Like the compression and the speed you take through there, and you're on the brakes and direction change. It's a lot going on at once.
Absolutely. Here, looking now at Jake Mackey right now, running his own race. You want to talk about running your own race? What about a 16-second gap in front of you and an 8-second gap behind you? You feel like you're the only race car on the track, Josh.
Yeah, for sure. It starts to get, that's what we were talking about before. When a track like this, you can actually forget where you are on the track because there's just not a whole lot to do sometimes on that first part of the lap. And I know I've been there hitting the brakes going, which chicane is this again? And wondering, if I'm supposed to be in second gear or third gear or what have you. Or am I entering the Porsche curves right now? Like, that kind of thing. It's a lot easier to do at night than it is during the day. But you can definitely lull yourself into a bit of a daze around here and make a mistake very easily.
Yeah, you absolutely can, and we've seen a couple of those drivers do it. One driver that we don't hope does it is Michelle Squirick, sitting at about a 5-second gap back to Mike Dam. She's just got to run these last 2 laps-ish. It's going to be 2 laps for sure. Lap and a half, I guess, when she crosses the line. Run them just like she's been running them, and she's got the lead, and it was all down to lap 1. I'm going to call it turn 1, but it continued on all the way through turn 4. She made the moves that she had to make to get out in the lead.
Yeah, she absolutely did. That was some pretty mega stuff there right off the start. Got an absolutely excellent jump off the start there. I believe that the leaders waited for the green, which is not something you have to do here, and she was ready for it. As soon as that green went, boop, she went. I think everybody else was probably looking for the cues out of the car to start, whereas Michelle, okay, the green's going to come, and bam, she stepped on it and was able to just jump through there. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And, even though Michelle, you want to talk about this, Michelle has a 5-second lead now, and you can still see about 8 cars as we come into Daytona chicane. That is how long this back straight is. There comes Mike Dam through it now with a gap of about 5 seconds now. So he has closed in, but it is not enough. Looking at Thorman now, Guidry coming through, and that is your top 4. And, wow, you're good at this. Here comes Jacobs, and then if you look a little bit further, way further back, there's the rest of them, Josh.
Yeah, that's quite the straightaway there, isn't it? That's a long one. You imagine, some cars that have some more power, if they would have just opened this thing up, let them all the way through that chicane these days, what you'd be getting out of some of these GTP cars and stuff would just be unreal.
Well, what you'd be getting is carnage going into the Mulsanne corner is what you'd be getting. I would say probably around 220 miles an hour, entering a sharp right-hander may not work out too well, as we've seen some older GTP cars try to do 220 miles an hour and go end over end.
Yeah, that is the crazy thing, actually, is if you go back in history far enough, 220 is fast, but there were cars around here in the 60s, 50s doing 200 miles an hour, doing 190 miles an hour. There was no barriers, there was no chicane, there was nothing. So another 20 miles an hour is obviously, it starts to really put you over the top of VMAX there or whatever, but 200 miles an hour in a tin box with no safety and some leather goggles is friggin' insane, man.
I'm sorry, Casey. She told me to stop the cursing. I'm going to stop the cursing. I apologize. You know what, Josh? Get off of Michelle. We're not going to look at her for the rest of the race. We don't even want to watch her anymore because I'm going to start cursing Michelle, and it's going to happen. So right now, what we're talking about, the other thing I wanted to mention back in the 60s, 70s is spectator safety. You see all these big old barriers they've got around there now? No, they didn't have any of that. Those spectators were right there, which caused a lot of issues as well. So as cool as it was to see these cars go this fast, the advancements in technology and just honestly straight up safety made it safer for everybody. And at some points, I get it. You want to see racing. You want to see these racers go out there. They know what they've signed up for. You want to see them go fast. But at the same time, it is good to see some of these safety features.
Yeah, I believe actually it was Le Mans that had one of, I think it's the worst auto racing crash in motorsports history, right down this front straightaway.
It was.
And unfortunately, those two cars got into each other and broke apart, and the engine flew into the crowd. I believe it or not, it's almost hard to believe. It killed 80 spectators in one crash.
Yep, I remember that.
And that
we were
was,
just talking about that.
Yeah, just wild to watch. It's hard to believe, that these things are basically missiles when they're if they're not pointed at the right thing. And it really did spawn a lot of safety changes and stuff after that. Thank goodness. And obviously, our thoughts and prayers out to everybody there who was affected by that one, even though it was so long ago. Just horrible thing to happen. And we've advanced so much as we can see these cars and all of these safety precautions around Le Mans and other tracks now too.
Yeah, absolutely. We got 2 minutes left in the race. Looking like Michelle Squirick. This should be the final lap. I wanted to look at Barney the flagman and I missed it, but I do believe this is going to be the final lap of the race here. Or is he holding the white flag right now, Josh?
He's holding it. He's waiting. So we're waiting until it clicks over here. We'll keep a good eye on Barney here and see if she can make it to the line before he waves it here. I think she might be able to.
Let's hope she doesn't, because right now that gap has gone from 7 to 3.8. So if he has another lap, Mike Dam might have a chance.
Yeah, that is pretty wild how fast he is catching up, isn't it? That was a large gap here, and he might even. I'm not sure he's going to have it. Again, it's just going to be down to time, not pace here, but he might have a chance. He might have a chance. A little bit of a mistake here, perhaps, from Michelle up front. I'm sure she's feeling that burn now, that 3 seconds, another second and a half, and he's in your rear view mirror and big, and that's when you start making mistakes, or at least I do anyway. You really got to start trying to look forward and not backwards at this stage if you're Michelle Squire. See if you can't hold on to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking here as she is about to go through Mulsanne corner now. It's hard for me to believe that this isn't the final lap, but I have been wrong before. Crossing over 29:12 now. I would assume iRacing said, okay, you guys are done after this one.
So, yeah.
Right now it's 3.6 seconds though. Michelle Squirick still holding on to it. Nope. I can't talk. Casey told me I can't talk about Michelle anymore. Casey said it was about 3 minutes 40 seconds at the line. Ooh, it's going to be close here. I do believe this is going to be the white flag lap though for Michelle Squirick. Now going to be coming through Indianapolis. She has already done so. No, she has just gone through Mulsanne actually. And you can see Mike Dam in the background down to 3.5 seconds. It is not going to be enough.
No. Yep, don't think it's going to be enough here without some sort of catastrophe of some kind on Squirick's part. It looks
don't
like
say that, Josh.
We will be getting the white flag, I believe, this lap. And this will be the last one here. So one more lap to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. Michelle doing a great job here at the moment. Looking back here to see if we do have really any battles, and we don't. So I guess I want to talk about biggest movers here, and I can't talk about biggest movers because the two biggest movers we're watching are Mike Dam and Michelle Squirick, all up 8 positions. Chris Thorman, though, up 5. Jake Mackey also up 5. So those two drivers basically went from the back to the front. John Kroom, we see, has another slowdown yellow flag there. He is already a lap down. I wonder what exactly happened to John Kroom. Actually, I know what happened. Here comes Michelle. We can talk about it later. Michelle Squirick takes the win. Man, if there was another lap, I know she was praying that there wasn't going to be. Mike Dam jumped or cut that gap from about 7 to 3.2 in 2 laps. And now we're watching Chester Guidry cross the line, finishes P4 overall. And P1 in the AMs. Jeff Jacobs now going to be coming across the line in P5, P2 in the AMs. And then we're looking at Jake Mackey takes the win in the silver class. 15 seconds behind, now going through the Ford chicane, but going to be winning in silver class.
Yeah, some great driving from Chester Guidry today to take that AM class win. Was able to hold it together. Got caught by some of the leaders there in pro, but able to hold it together, keep that draft going, keep it out of trouble, and take the AM win. Jake Mackey's going to take the silver class win today, and we got our final finishers here. Probably the closest battle on track there, actually. We almost missed that one right at the end there. Tom Jenkins going to take home, I believe that's going to be 2nd place in silver, 7th overall. So pretty good stuff out there today. Not a whole lot of attrition. We had a few incidents, a few kind of sketchy moments there, but for the most part, pretty clean stuff.
We did. I think we called it too. Lap 1, turn 1, or turn 2, technically, I guess, of that second race. was going to be an issue, and boy, was it. My goodness, did Michelle win that race because of lap 1. You normally don't hear that either. Everyone tells you you can't win the race on lap 1, Josh, but you sure can lose it. Well, Michelle won the race on lap 1 today.
Yeah, proving it wrong. You're actually right there for sure. It's usually, that's the saying. You can't win it on lap 1. Well, she did pretty much. That was, when you get a start that good and you're able to come through the field like that so quickly on the first lap, it's just all open at that point. So I think once she got that good start and got by those first 4 or 5 cars there, things were looking pretty good. And then obviously Mike Dam getting taken out of it at the very beginning of the race there just made it a bit of a breeze for her.
Yeah, absolutely. That was extremely helpful, to say the least, for Michelle. And then Mike really had nowhere to go. Mike had to claw his way through, still ends up finishing P2. Great drive by Mike. And again, got to talk about Chester Guidry as well. He did lose 2 positions, but that doesn't matter. It was an inverted grid top 10. Chester, great drive both races. Really, I do believe, did he win AM both times?
I think he did, yep. Yeah, so we got a double winner there tonight as well. Pretty good stuff, man. I wasn't really sure what to expect here from Le Mans. Got kind of what I expected, with a little bit more action than I was expecting, though. So good stuff.
Yeah, it absolutely was, and we should have the results up on screen maybe for the final race.
Let's get them up. Hopefully, it will work for us. It's trying. It's still trying. Boom, there we go. The feature is up. We should be able to get them now.
All right, so yeah, we're going to be going through the final results here for race number 2. Michelle Squire starting in 9th position, finishing in 1st. Mike Dam starting in 10th, finishing in 2nd. Chris Thorman, great drive from him, up 5 positions, ends up finishing P3. P4 overall, but P1 in the AM is Chester Guidry. Jeff Jacobs comes home P2 in the AM. Jake Mackey wins your silver class, finishes P6 overall. Tom Jenkins in 7th. Elias Spiker in 8th. Mike Mann in 9th. Joe Nagy in 10th. John Kroom and Sean New Holland will round out your 12-car grid here for tonight, and it sounds like we do have some interviewees that we need to cover. And Josh, I want to interview the guy that I do believe pulled it out for both races, Mr. Chester Guidry. Is it, first of all, the other reason I got you in here, Chester, is it Guidry or Guidry?
It's actually Guidry.
Oh man, we both got it wrong, Josh.
That's okay.
Anyways, that's fine.
We tried.
Moving on, Chester, you had a great second race. You ended up finishing P4, lost a couple positions, but P1 and AM. Your first race was really good as well, and I think Josh and I were talking, is this the first time we've seen a double winner?
Actually, in the first race, I ran out of gas on the last lap.
We were talking about that, and we were wondering if there were some funny games being played to try to allow yourself to get back up there to start the second race in a very good position. So a lot of you guys underfueled then.
Yeah, well, I was battling with the pro guys there in the first race, and I knew it was going to be tight on fuel, but I was so distracted by trying to stay with those guys. I was just driving too hard and consumed too much fuel. I could have made it, but it was so close. I thought maybe I would get a splash and hope everyone else ran out, but everyone else did a better job than I did, apparently.
Well, I'm telling you right now, Chester, that my nickname in the Weekend Warriors League here on Slow Motion Broadcasting is called Gasless, and it's because the first time I ever ran a race in the Weekend Warriors League, I ran out of gas because I wasn't smart enough to go into the pits and put more in it. I was too hard-headed to do so. So I think you probably made the right decision there, Chester, but kind of walk me through race number 2. You had Michelle Squirick and Mike Dam and Chris really come breathing down your neck, and it looked like you were just kind of in your own race. You didn't really want to battle them, and that was a great job by you, obviously winning AM in race number 2.
Yeah, so after the results of race 1, I knew I needed to be more careful in race 2 about fuel. I knew how fast Michelle it was and always is. So when she caught me, I tried to let her go, use a little bit of her draft. Unfortunately, she's too fast for me to stay with. So just kind of got into a rhythm, lifting and coasting. When the next person caught me, same thing. I tried to lift a little early, make it obvious that I was given the position, let that person get around me so, we wouldn't lose any time to the folks behind us. So it was really just about managing my aggression, trying to keep that fuel light, keep the fuel consumption light.
Well, you did that, and you did it well. And let's talk about aggression here, okay, for just 1 second, Chester. You got through Le Mans. You're about to go to Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park. You want to talk about aggression in a small racetrack, oval, I would assume. I hope it's an oval, because I don't think you guys are going to be running the dirt around there. Are you ready for that?
We'll see, guys. That actually may work against me because I probably tend to be more aggressive than I should be. And on a track like that rewards aggression, maybe I'll step too far. So it's going to be a balancing act. I'm really excited about it. I like ovals. I grew up on the dirt tracks. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, it is going to be a blast up here in the booth to watch as well. But Chester, congratulations. You did the right thing. Very, very good finish. Both races, obviously being conservative, but that's okay. It gave you a bunch of points. Anybody you want to thank or shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, the guys with the HTPK racing team, and my friends and family that watched the race, my wife Ashley as well. So thank you guys for putting on the broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely, Chester. Congratulations, man. I hope to talk to you next time.
All right, guys. Good night.
Good night. Josh, you back?
I'm back.
All right, so we've got Michelle Squirick and Chris Thorman. I'm going to let you take the next one.
Yeah, let's get race winner Michelle Squirick down here and see how she did it. Michelle, that second race, what an amazing start. Awesome dive up into the first section of corners there. You, made up 7 positions or something before before the third corner? How'd you see it out there?
I just tried to make sure I wasn't going to get blocked coming out of that final chicane. And as soon as the lights went out, I put the hammer down. And yeah, it was just driving on pure instinct through there. But as soon as I noticed, okay, I made it through to Mulsanne Straight, I'm like, okay, I'm in 3rd position. I think I can get these 2 in front of me pretty quick and try and build that gap. And sure enough, I needed that because Mike was fast as always. So,
Yeah, I think that was the strategy today for sure. He definitely had a little bit of pace over you, I think, but you're able to jump out to that early lead and put a gap in between you. And then he tried as hard as he could, I think, there to catch you near the end, made up some good positions, but you just had the pace today. Were able to keep it consistent and stay out front. We were talking a little bit about these GT3 cars having issues going through those sort of piff-paff sections like the Porsche curves, and it looked like you're struggling a little bit through there too to get that nose of the car turned in and get on the gas early, whereas Mike seemed to be having a little bit less problem with that. I think probably he's just got a little more experience in these things. Maybe you can walk us through just sort of how difficult it is to get these things turned in corners like that.
Yeah, so I don't drive a lot of GT cars in iRacing. I mostly stick to the prototypes. So having something, the front end's a bit softer on these cars. You have to use the brakes to control the nose of the car a little bit better, a little bit more. So I think he's got a little bit more experience in that, but still, it's still the same skills. You got to drive the car at the end of the day. But nice little different challenge, and yeah, very fun.
Yeah, for sure. We're talking about this being a kind of a specialty track for sure. There's people around here that just have tons of laps, and if you really know the ins and outs around here, you kind of squeak that time out if you've done a bunch of 24-hour events or what have you. But speaking of kind of unique challenges, next weekend, I believe, is Lucas Oil, another oval. So that should be a pretty interesting one. How do you approach something like that after a race like this?
I have no idea. I don't even own that track. I'm just gonna wing it and see how it goes. But whatever it'll be fun. We'll have a great time. And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so that'll be our last oval, and I think I'd probably have the same thing. You just go out there and try to do your best, stay out of everybody, and kind of see what happens, because I don't think any of us really know how that one's going to go. And then after that, of course, we have Okayama and Indy Road, two fairly technical road courses there to finish out the season at the end here. But great win today, Michelle. Is there anybody you'd like to thank out there?
Thank you. So obviously, I'd like to thank everyone over at XMS for putting this series on. And you all here at Slow Motion Broadcasting for making it come to life.
Awesome. Thank you for the kind words, and we'll see you next week. Great win today.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, that was Michelle Squirick, our winner from today. Sorry to walk on you. I think we have one more driver here. Would you like to speak to Chris Thorman?
I would, and welcome into the broadcast booth. Chris, we always save the best for last, of course. Chris, congratulations on your P3 in the second race. It was not without a bit of, for both races for you, not without a bit of trials and tribulations, though. You had to get yourself through a couple pretty scary moments.
Yes, sir, and having Mike and Michelle out there, it's all I can do to keep up with them.
Yeah, we saw that. I mean, we saw you try to put Mike under a bit of pressure and Michelle, and man, were they quick. You held your own in race one for quite a while, though, man. So congratulations for that. But kind of walk us through race number 2. You gained 5 positions. Obviously, the start was extremely scary.
Yeah, and on cold tires, and I don't know what happened in front of me. I saw the side of a car, and I just headed for a clean spot, and all of a sudden I was in 5th. So I don't even know. I'll have to go watch the broadcast to see what it was that happened up there.
Well, it worked out for you. Mike Mann, there was a bit of contact between Mike Mann and, help me out here, I can't remember who the other guy was,
Kroom.
Josh, but yeah, and John Kroom, and there was just the net code really just started sending, and we're watching it from your onboard now. Yeah, that was Mike Mann that was sideways in front of you, and
yeah.
Luckily for you, the car ahead cleared that car out, or you would have been the first person to arrive at the scene of that accident. But you got through that, got up, like you said, got up into P5, and then just started making slow, methodical moves, and really did a great job. Chester gave you a bit of a battle as well, but it looked like you were able to dispatch of him quickly, and then you were just kind of on your own for the rest of the race.
I was just trying to have a good race. I've been having a lot of fun in this series, but this car has not been my friend.
Well, okay, here's the deal. Let's speak about some fun, Chris, okay? We're going to talk about fun. Fun is Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park, which I don't know has ever seen a GT3 around the oval, ever, and you're about to run it next week. Are you ready for that?
Yes, sir. I'm ready for it. I think it'll
All
be
right.
fun. Michigan, as fun as Michigan was, I can't wait to see what that's going to be like.
I mean, I can't wait to see either, but it's going to be something, to say the least, Chris. But congratulations tonight, P3, overall P3 in the pro class as well. Anybody you want to thank or shout out before you let you go?
Want to always thank Xtreme for putting us a place to play, y'all for showing everybody, and D2D for helping me get ready.
Awesome, Chris. Thank you so much, and I hope to be speaking to you at the end of the Lucas Oil races. Let's see how those go, huh?
That'd be great.
All right, that was Chris Thorman there in P3 overall for the second race. Really did a great job tonight. Maybe one of the more consistent drivers on the track. When I say consistent, I mean very, very good job just in general. Definitely not the quickest, and I mean absolutely no disrespect to him, but Michelle Squirick and Mike Dam, Josh, were the class of the field tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. And you can see these specialty tracks like that, right? Some of the ones that we visit, maybe Panorama here, Nürburgring, a few others, handful of others there. There's going to be specialty drivers that are just kind of class of the field from everybody else. Not that everybody didn't have pace out there, you know, but there's going to be some drivers that just have overall pace on everybody. And that's kind of what we saw here tonight at Le Mans with 12 cars as well. You know, you're going to get a bit of a spaced out field, but I think we did pretty good. And it was good up at the front there. Some great passing early on from Michelle Squirick, and some great pace and consistency from Mike Dam.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have more upcoming broadcasts, 2 of which are going on at the moment, just to let you guys know. And they're not being shown right now, but as of right now, we've got Ray Esports Club Racing Series racing the Mustangs right now. So again, once you guys are done here, you can listen to my beautiful voice for just a little bit longer. Go check them out. And then if you don't want to watch Mustangs, you can go ahead and watch F3s, because SRG F3 at the moment is going on again. Josh had to make or maybe Ron had to make a new broadcasting booth, which is great to see for slow motion broadcasting. We got 3 broadcasts going on at the same time. So, but coming up next on slow motion broadcasting on Saturday, November 8th, is going to be the Formula Vs for the Weekend Warriors FVs around VIR North. So that should be a good one. Tune in on Saturday, November 8th, 2:25. All these times are in Eastern time. Then on Sunday, November 9th at 2:45 Eastern, we've got the Formula Fords around Long Beach. That one is going to be fun. Water fountain is going to come into play there.
Ooh, yeah.
And then if you're not done yet, which you won't be, because the Weekend Warriors have another one, the Spec Racer Fords, just in case you didn't get enough VIR on Saturday, you can watch the Grand Course on Sunday in the Spec Racer Fords at 2:45 p.m. Eastern time. Again, it comes up a little bit past the Formula Fords. We do have a bit of a typo there. That is supposed to not be 2:45 a.m., so we'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
but
we'll fix that.
Sunday night, okay? I'm going to hype this one up just a little bit. Cross Series League Racing is done with the dirt big blocks around the dirt ovals. We, when I say we, myself and all the other idiots that decide to run with me in that league, are going to run the rallycross cars around Daytona Rallycross. None of us know what we're doing, so tune in for that one. It should be an absolute blast to watch. And then on Tuesday, November 11th, SRG F4 at Motorland Aragon, 9:45 p.m. Eastern time. And then SRG again, the F3s at Donington at 9:45 p.m. Eastern time on the 12th on Wednesday. Josh?
That pretty much wrapping it up. We got a lot of stuff going on around here now, huh?
Yeah, we do, and it's awesome to see. And it was an absolute blast to get back in the booth with you again. But final thoughts on the race for you. We just kind of talked about it a little bit. I think everything we said came true. A bit of complacency, I think, for some of those drivers. Those long straights really did cause some issues.
Yeah, they definitely do. This place, has a tendency to kind of stretch people out a bit, but we had a fairly good eventful race there here in the GT3 cars, and I'm really looking forward to the Oval next, and then some pretty cool technical road courses at the end here. We've had an awesome season up to round 4 yet, so looking forward to 5, 6, and 7 to take us to the end of this season.
Absolutely. And one more shout out before I get us out of here. Rob Schwenkler knew he was too slow and he did not want me to broadcast him tonight. But Rob, congratulations on the engagement, buddy. I will see you next year. I can't remember. I think sometime in August. And I cannot wait to see you and your beautiful, gonna be, she's a fiance still. Your beautiful bride get married. So, Rob, thank you so much for everything you've done for XMS, for Slow Motion Broadcasting, and everybody else. And I hope you go back and watch this. And again, you're way too slow. But from myself, Joshua, Wilkie, Ron Maunz came in at the beginning. Thank you guys so much for watching. Ferrari Road Oval Challenge brought to you by XMS and brought to you on the air by Slow Motion Broadcasting. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night, and make sure to go tune in to RES and F3 after this.